What's good, people? It's Spud here, and welcome to episode 37 of Spudball. And in today's episode, we're going to be doing our 2026-27 Premier League predictions. Obviously, last year they went horribly wrong because I did go for Liverpool to win the league. Uh, Florian Wirtz to be the best signing, and Arne Slot manager of the season. Oh dear. Um, anyway. What I will say is for any predictions, I've gone for players that are currently in their teams. So, for example, I won't be putting a player that potentially could be joining a team in certain areas. I'll get to that when we get to it. Anyway, if you do enjoy, please do like the episode and the video. It helps a lot. Let's get into it. So, first of all, individual predictions. Golden Boot, I've gone for Erling Haaland. Pretty obvious. The only time he hasn't had Golden Boot since joining Man City was when Salah beat him in the 24-25 season. But Salah was unbelievable that season. No one was going to beat him. Assists, I've gone for Bruno Fernandes again, but I don't think he'll get 21 this season. In my opinion, he'll probably get about 15. Um, I don't think he'll be able to farm his assists as much. Like, I think he will score more goals this season because he didn't score as many last season. Because obviously, Fernandes has been a fantastic player for years. But one thing he has done last season was a lot of crosses, a lot of more trying to get the assist. I mean, obviously Casemiro leaving will have an impact on that. Golden Glove, David Raya, pretty simple. Player of the season, I've gone for Haaland. I just think that the amount of goals he'll score will put him in contention, but I'm not sure. Young player of the season, yes, am I going off mainly that 45 minutes against Como in the friendly? Jeremy Jacquet was incredible. A lot of people have been talking about him after his performance against Como. It was his first pre-season game for Liverpool, his first game since February as well, and he was phenomenal. He looked incredible, and he got a goal as well. Obviously, they're going to be careful with him. He's not going to play all 38 games this season, like because obviously Liverpool have got Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup as well. But I do think that Jacquet is going to be up there, and I'm gonna be biased and put him in there because I'm not putting him as signing of the season, so I'm going to put Jacquet there. I think he's going to be really important for Liverpool. I think if it was, I think he is going to be an upgrade on Canate, especially last season's Canate. It's not hard to get any worse. Obviously, they've brought in Araujo, which I, by the way, really like that financially. Like, a loan deal is not bad. Obviously, because Leone's still trying to come back from his ACL and Joe Gomez is always injured. So Liverpool have got a little bit of depth in centre-back at the moment, and it will be better when Leone and Gomez are back. Was hoping they'd sign a right back and a midfielder, but it's looking like that's not even going to happen, even if Curtis Jones goes, which I'm not happy about. Still two wingers to come in. We know who they're going to be, and that's someone I'm going to talk about in a bit. Breakout start, Mamadou Sangare. I've gone for here. Now, he could be the young player of the season as well. I really wanted this guy at Liverpool. My prediction is within the next 2 years, he'll have gone for 100 million. He's like he will be an 100 million pound player. I'm convinced. Um, I think that this first season he will do well, but maybe not as well as I know he can do. And that's why I've not put him as young player of the season. Could he be in the contenders? Yeah, I think he will be, but not this season. Now with the young player of the season, I know the PFA one's slightly different to the Premier League one. I'm just gonna go for the Premier League one for now because I can't remember fully because Jack has just turned 21. So I don't know if it's before the 1st of July. If he's so, I don't know if he's going to be eligible for the PFA one, but I'm going to put him for the Premier League one, and then obviously Sangare as a star. Signing of the season was a difficult one. I'd love to go for Jacquet, but I didn't want to put him in multiple. So I've gone for Bruno Guimaraes. I've included price and multiple other factors. I just think 75 million, yeah, you're probably only going to get like three or four seasons out of him probably at top level, but I think he's going to be a fantastic addition to Arsenal. And I think in this market, 75 million, where Spurs paid more for Matheus Fernandes, Tenali, Elliot Anderson cost 116. I think Guimaraes is a good deal. Um, By the way, I was tempted to actually put if Mateus Fernandes cost 55 million, I would have put Mateus Fernandes. He's up there as well. Flop of the season, I've gone Elliot Anderson. I think he's an alright player, but I think the amount of money that City have paid for him is crazy, and especially where Rodri's not going to be playing with him. Um, I think he looked okay at the World Cup. Nothing special. Yeah. If his partner's going to be Buadi or Enzo Fernandez or whoever it's going to be, it's going to take them some time. I don't think he's going to have a great season. Manager of the season, I've gone for Arteta. Pretty much whoever wins the league, I think, will get it. First manager sacked, I've gone Gary O'Neill. I like Gary O'Neill, but I just think with the amount of money that Ipswich have spent, if they have a slow start, I could definitely see him potentially getting the chopping block, even though I don't think that's fair. I think it's harder for a manager to get sacked this season, especially with so many new managers as well in jobs. PSG is joining the Premier League. Yourself, Newcastle, uh, there is quite a few, so it is going to be interesting. Marco Rose as well. Goal of the season, Njai likes a banging goal, so I'm going to go with Njai to go on like a crazy dribble and score from like 25 yards out. Save of the season, Carl Rushworth, why not? I don't know. Most goals, I am going to go with Man City. I'm going to go with Hull to concede the most, even though maybe that's a bit harsh on Hull. Maybe it'll be actually. I think it might. No, I'll go Hull. So many new players that don't know each other yet. It's going to take them a long time to get settled. Best home record, Arsenal. I was going to go Man City, but I've changed it. Best away record, again, was going to go Man City, but I just don't know how they're going to play after that Community Shield massacre. I'll go Arsenal. Biggest surprise, Leeds. I think Leeds are going to be good this season, but I still think they're one attacker short from being European contenders. I think if Calvert-Lewin gets injured, they're in trouble. Underachievers, Crystal Palace. I think they're going to struggle. I think their depth is pretty poor. Like they've got players now. They used to have terrible squad depth. They've got some squad depth, but I just, I don't know. I'm not sure about Palace. And PSG obviously did a great job at Lon, but I'm not sure. Game of the season, I think I always go Liverpool, Man City for these. So this is my table. So starting in the relegation places, I've gone Hull, Ipswich and Coventry. Boring, I know. I just think the gap's going to be a bit too much this year. Obviously Sunderland and Leeds stayed up. Sunderland though haven't improved their team much, so we'll get to them. What I will say with Hull, I think Hull will not finish bottom if they sign Yereme from Deportivo de la Corona. Um, I think he plays for Deportivo. I do think that if Hull sign him, that they won't finish bottom because he would be for me a top five signing of the transfer window, along with, as if right now, Guimaraes, Jacquet, Sangare, and probably Vuskovic or Fernandez or Van Heck. What I will say as well with Liverpool, with obviously when we get to Liverpool, I'll talk about it. But anyway, so yeah, I like Ipswich's business. I still don't think they're strong enough. Coventry, similar. Don't think they're strong enough. I've gone Palace in 17th. I think they're going to really struggle this season without Gahey and Lacroix for the full season. I'm just not convinced by Crystal Palace. I like PSG, but I think they'll struggle. I don't think PSG will last the season either. European football, I think it'll take its toll on the team. I've gone Fulham in 16th. I think I like Arbeloa and I like Gonzalo Garcia, but I'm still not sure about Fulham. I think Fulham should keep Arbeloa, but they're going to have to realise it's a transition season. And I still think there are a couple of players like Sunderland in 15th. Obviously, the left back they're bringing in from Toulouse is good business. The only other signing is Thomas Meunier on a free. I think their squad depth is pretty poor. And I think with Europa League they might struggle a bit, but it's still going to be a good season for Sunderland as long as they stay up and have a nice European tour. I mean, imagine they win the Europa League and then they're in the Champions League. Mental. Nottingham Forest in 14th. Obviously they've got Glasner. Elliot Anderson is going to be a big miss for them because he was one of their better players, but they've managed to keep hold of Gibbs White and Nico Williams. With Nottingham Forest, I think you could have put them really in any position, but I think this season they're going to be comfortable, whereas last season they were on the relegation battle. Newcastle again are unpredictable. I've put them to finish 13th. I think obviously they've got a good manager, but he's got no Premier League experience. and they've sold Guimaraes, Gordon, and Tonali in one window. I think Newcastle have a really rough start. Against Liverpool, they could easily beat Liverpool. Like, as a Liverpool fan, I don't feel confident going into the game, but that's just because it's going to be unpredictable. Liverpool haven't signed the players they want yet, on the wings. You know, there's Barkla's not going to be playing, and Bayer's probably not going to be there either. I would probably take a draw, in all honesty, because St James's Park is always a horrible place to go, regardless of the squad. But Liverpool seem to always get good results there, so I just don't know. Anyway, Everton 12th. I don't know with Everton. They honestly, in my opinion, should have got Europe last season, but they just dropped off at the last second. I'll put them in 12th, but I think they need a few more signings through the door. Dewsbury Hall, the one to watch though. I think he'll have a good season, but I couldn't put him as the breakout star. He's like 26, and he was good last season. Leeds, I've put them in 11th, but I do think it's a bit. You could put Leeds anywhere, in my opinion, between 8th and 12th. I think their squad's good this season. I think they did well last season, but like I said earlier, I think they're an attacker short. Brighton in 10th, obviously, I think again they're two attackers short. Brighton. I know Simas is returning from an injury in a few months, hopefully, but they've lost Welbeck, big blow. Obviously, they lost Van Heck, but brought in Vuskovic, which obviously Vuskovic is a great signing. But yeah, I'd say at this moment in time, their wingers are De Kuyper, who's a left back, and Gomez, who's a central midfielder. Not ideal. Obviously, Minte's out for a couple of months. I've put Brentford in 9th. Obviously, Shada, Uatara, and Thiago have had a good start to pre-season, but there was a lot of games last season where they did drop off and were anonymous. Obviously, Sangare coming in though is massive. I could easily have put Bournemouth in the top 8 ahead of Brentford. Sorry, I could easily put Brentford ahead of Bournemouth, especially with the fact that Krupi's going to be out for 3 to 4 months. Well, it's 2 to 3 months now. For Bournemouth, I do think, and obviously with European football, I think they've got a good squad. They haven't lost too many players in the summer, only really Senesi. But obviously they have lost Andoni Areola to Liverpool, but his contract ran out anyway, so they were expecting it. But Marco Rose is a great appointment, and he knows European football. Let's see how Bournemouth do. I think they've got a good squad. I think Justin Kluivert's looking sharp again. Obviously he had a couple of injuries the last couple of years. Um, they've obviously brought in a right back. They've brought in another striker. Maybe one or two more additions would be needed. Now, I have put Man United in 7th, and I know some people are going to ask because you hate them. I personally, I like Tielemans as a signing. Santos is alright as well, but Man United have not recruited enough, especially when they're going to be playing uh, Champions League football as well. I personally think their squad's too light, and it could really cost them. I think in certain areas they're okay. I mean, left-hand side, you've got Cunha, Rashford, Dorgu can play there, and Buemo, Ahmad on the right. Seshko up front, but Seshko's injured at the moment. Like they've got good, and obviously they've got Fernandez, who's fantastic. It's a weird one. I'm gonna put them. I think they will struggle with playing Champions League because they can't play one game a week, which is what because they got knocked out by Grimsby last season. And they only played 40 games in all competitions last season. That's the least you can possibly play as a Premier League team. 40 games. Whereas Arsenal, for example, played. Well, they must have played 60 plus minimum. They must have played like nearly 65 games. So I do think that Man United will struggle. I've put Villa to finish in 6th, just outside the Champions League spot. It would be a Europa League spot. Um, Obviously Champions League is going to take its toll as always. Obviously they've got some great players like Madjo coming through, and obviously George Hemmings impressed me in the Super Cup. He could have been my breakout star, but I don't think he'll play that much, so that's why I didn't. The problem is they've lost Morgan Rogers, who was inconsistent, I will admit that, but Garnacho isn't going to really be that good for them in my opinion. Suzuki's a great keeper for them to get, but obviously that means Emi Martinez is leaving. Conta's future is uncertain. Watkins' future is uncertain. João Gomez is already injured. And Nana's got an injury. I could have honestly put Aston Villa lower, but they've got Unai Emery. He's fantastic. I've put Tottenham to finish in 5th. Obviously, De Zerbi's a great manager. Their signings have been good, but they're still lacking in forwards. If it is going to be 150 million spent on Gakpo and Savinho, I don't think it's great business, but I think that Spurs will be a lot better this season. Obviously, they've got a really good defence and a really good midfield too with Tonali and Fernandes. I've put Chelsea fourth, but to be honest with you, I could have put them third or even maybe second. I'm going to be honest with you, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea could have been in any order for me. Um, I've put Chelsea fourth, obviously. Good signings, good manager. It will take a bit of time for it to work. Will a three back work in the Premier League? We don't know. It didn't work for Man United with Ruben Amorim. But I do like Chelsea's team on paper. Obviously, Rodgers, Pedro, Palmer. Palmer's been off it for over a year though, so Pedro's been the one stepping up. Palestra, again, Palestra could have been an option for signing of the season, but I haven't seen enough from him yet. Lacroix, they've got a good team. I still think that Sanchez isn't good enough to be their number one in some aspects, but he's not terrible. I've put Liverpool in third in the hope that they do sign Bradley Barcola. I think they will. I think Liverpool's team will be good, but their depth is poor in most positions, not all positions. Obviously, Ekitike is going to be out for most of the season as well, which is obviously a disaster because he's so good. But he's going to be out probably till like February, maybe a bit earlier. I don't know. Isak looking sharp in pre-season, has to fire the goals in fast for Liverpool. Obviously, what better place to do it but than Newcastle, who he used to play for? Wirtz is a do or die season for him. I think he'll do better. He'll be close to Isak, but again, the final third, he has to make the right decision. Obviously, with the wingers, Iraola wants his wingers to play on both sides. I think at full strength, if we do sign the two PSG wingers, I would have Barcola on the left and then one of Mbe or Munoz on the right, and Rio being the backup to Barcola. Rio has been tried on the right hand side in pre-season. It just doesn't work, in my opinion. Jacquet very impressed with Araujo, obviously as well another option. Frimpong has played well in pre-season, but I still am surprised Liverpool didn't sign a right back because Conor Bradley's going to be out probably till about November. Leone should be back in September. Um, who else is there? Don't even know. Obviously Munoz. I'm not sure about. The problem is if Isak gets injured, who plays up front for Liverpool? Because Chiesa is crap. It'll probably be a situation where we just play three of our four wingers. Um, and obviously Lewis Koumas might stay as well, but I don't know. Are we still light? We'd have six attackers before Ekitike is back, but obviously Chiesa is just not amazing, is he? But he'll be part of the squad. But it's pretty obvious that Thingy doesn't rate him that much, Iraola. And credit to Slot, because I actually thought the Slot was horrible towards Chiesa, but I think it's just he's shit. I've put Man City second. I don't want to knee-jerk it and put them like third or fourth because of a pre-season game, the Community Shield game, but they looked horrible from what I've heard and seen. They obviously need a Rodri replacement. If it's Buadi, he's very young. If it's Enzo Fernandez, he's not really a defensive midfielder. The players will learn the system, but I think if Savinho leaves, they need another winger. So I think they need a winger and a midfielder at the minimum. I mean, I really like Nico Gonzalez, but it doesn't sound like they're gonna go off there. They're gonna start him. So yeah. And then I put Arsenal to win. I think that's pretty obvious that Arsenal. Well, it's not obvious that Arsenal win. A lot of people thought Liverpool would win last season because of the signings they made. But obviously, I think Guimaraes is a good addition to that team. Solis is looking alright as well. I think they will still sign another winger if Martinelli leaves. I don't know who though. Hopefully not Barcola, but apparently Barcola wants to join Liverpool. So, um, that's good news for me if he joins Liverpool. But Ødegaard for me is the one to watch out for, and I'm not just saying that because I've had him in my FPL team pretty much since the FPL app opened, and now people are buying him because of his performance in the Community Shield. But people forget how good he was a few years ago. I think Arsenal weren't that good in my opinion last season. I think they're going to be a better team this season, even with Saliba missing the first 5, 6, 7 games. I don't know how many he's going to miss. They've got some tough games after Coventry, but then again, Villa aren't. I would have said Villa would have got a result against Arsenal if they had their team from last season, but they don't have it. You know what I mean? And then they've got Chelsea, which again will be a huge game. But that's my predictions. That is what I think the season's going to look like. Let me know down below what you've got. Who do you think's going to win the Premier League? Signing of the season, young player of the season, player of the season? Let me know. But thank you very much for watching. I'm recording this on Tuesday. I'm going to upload it tomorrow. Season starts on Friday. Let's make it a good one. Remember to join my FPL League as well. I will put the link in the. I'll put the code in the description. Alright, thanks for watching. See you later.